Okay. I believe we are live. Let me. Anybody out there? Anybody want to say hello?
Are you out there?
Whether you're out there or not, we're gonna start talking. I
Isn't that
I
a Pink
probably
Floyd song? Are you out there?
probably is it a Pink Floyd song? Most things are Pink Floyd songs. I am gonna put the call out one more time on the blue sky and let people come in. Okay, the link works. We know the link works. You go on. Ah, this is fun. I don't know if anybody's here yet, but if they are, they're watching me like fumble with my phone for just a couple of minutes. I promise we'll do an actual show in just a second. Okay. Oh, we got some people rolling in. Hi everybody. Welcome to the chat. All right. I'm tagging you in this if you want to repost it real quick just on Blue Sky just cuz everybody's. All right. And posted. Posted that we're live.
Tell me, are you out there? Isn't that a Pink Floyd? Like, I feel like that's a Pink Floyd song.
Is there? I know. There's a line in "Comfortably Numb" that's. Is there anybody in there?
Oh, is
Um,
that what it is? Is
that might
anybody
be.
in there?
Yep, there it is. Just nod if you can hear me. Don't sue us, Roger Waters. We're trying to do a thing. All right. I'm gonna go ahead and get this show on the road. Thank you to everybody who is showing up. As you trickle in, we're gonna have this going. If you miss any of it, there will be a recording that you can watch later, so that's good. With that being said, hello, everybody, and welcome to The Scares That Shaped Us, a podcast about horror writers and the stories that made them. I'm your host, Matthew Jackson, and tonight we are joined by newly minted Bram Stoker award winning author of books like Ghost Eaters, What Kind of Mother, Shiny Happy People, and this. I just bumped my microphone. It doesn't matter. This is his new book. It's called Devil Inside. It's out next Tuesday. You should buy it. It's our first and last guest, Clay McLeod Chapman. Welcome to the show.
Yay! Ah, this feels like one of those live telethons. Like I feel like we should be like taking calls and like
We should.
raising money for some you know, some good cause, some
There should
charity.
be a dais of Muppets, all with telephones lined up over to the side of me, and they should all be taking your calls. But we're not taking calls, but we are taking questions. So if you have a question for Clay or for me, I don't know why you have a question for me, but I'm here. So if you have a question for us, type it in the chat, and at a certain point in the show, we'll get to it.
I
But
have a question for you, Matt.
yeah, go for it.
How you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm doing
Yeah?
good. I'm excited about this live show. I
What
excited slash nervous, but
why in the world would you decide to do a live show? Like what possessed you, no pun intended, to go live?
oh, the puns are absolutely intended. Let me tell you. But what possessed me was I've been thinking about doing this for a while, and this month marks the 2 year anniversary of the show. We've been doing it. We launched
Aw,
August 2024,
happy
uh,
birthday.
episode one with Clay McLeod Chapman. Also, my birthday is next week.
Aw,
I
happy
am
birthday,
turning,
birthday.
and I will say to everybody watching and listening that I did definitely tell Clay in the email pitching him this thing like, hey, it's going to be my birthday, will you do this for me? And Clay was like, yeah, okay. And I regret nothing. I'm shameless that way.
I mean, I would have done it. no matter what. But the fact that you're celebrating your birthday with me feels very, very special. And
Oh, hey, Rob from the Art Party is here. What's up, Rob?
Rob from the art party,
Rob from the
Rob,
Art Party.
art
We appreciate
party, art
we
party. Should,
we appreciate you. Thank you for saying happy anniversary there in the chat. We really appreciate that.
should
Don't be
we be?
nervous, have fun. Congratulations and happy birthday. Thank you, Samantha. Um, yeah, we're I'm not this is the good thing about this is it is our first live show, but I'm doing it with the only choice to do the first live show was Clay McLeod Chapman, because Clay and I, like when I started the podcast, I did not really know any authors personally. I just was like, I know some of you from the internet, and Clay and I had DM'd each other a little bit about books, and
Ooh.
I was like, let's take a shot. And Clay has become the best friend this show could ever have.
Aw.
So there was only
Aw.
one choice. Sweet shirt, by the way. Shout out to our
Boom, ba,
friends.
boom, 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 ba, boom, boom. Bad
Shout out
hand.
to our friends at Bad Hand Books, Doug Morano, doing amazing work over there. Um, so let's talk about Devil Inside, because this is uh when I last talked to you, which I guess was when Shiny Happy People was coming out. Um, which hang on, I'm gonna go back. Speaking of Shiny Happy People, you won a Stoker, man.
Yeah, yeah,
I haven't spoken to you since you won the Stoker. Like, I messaged you and said congratulations, but like
yeah.
and we all saw the video, which was just you running around the ballroom shouting, we won," which is a fair reaction to winning one of those rad little haunted houses.
Yeah.
But what was the Stoker win experience like for you?
Um, well, I've never won anything before, so it was very singular. I realized that I get into a really bad headspace with awards. But that was never an issue until like a year or two ago because I never really got nominated for anything. Like it was never kind of in the cards, in the stars. But then like it started to happen in like 2025, and I like I got into this place where like I couldn't not think about it. Because I went to StokerCon, I went to the Stokers, um, and it was I realized that like I just don't have the emotional the that kind of come like it's amazing to be nominated, it's great, but I get into that like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, like, and it's really hard to get out of it. And like I'm there for like a whole weekend doing panels and like readings and seeing people and conversing, but like there's this low grade kind of like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, and it only increases and intensifies like up until the event, and then it's like all this adrenaline, and then it either it crashes or it crests. um and when Shiny Happy People got called, uh I I I had like a little like a momentary like blackout like where like I think like I was on an 18-second delay where the announcement was made, and like there was that moment of like what happened, like where am I? And I I actually I did not have any kind of like thing. It was happening, but it was a very much in like an out of body experience. The only thing I was kind of aware of was uh running. And that was like just a fit of joy. And I hope it wasn't disrespectful in any way, but it just seemed like, I don't know, like just the like having a kind of expression of like I may never get up here ever again, so this is my moment. Like I'm just gonna take it, and yeah, yeah, I'm just thankful I didn't like kiss Grady Hendrix or something, like do something inappropriate.
You absolutely should have kissed Grady Hendrix.
I
Like,
mean,
come on.
yeah, like there are moments where it's like, you know when you have those impulses of like, oh, this would be fun, or this would be funny, or this would be
Yeah,
silly,
yeah.
um, and I have those impulses a lot, for better or for worse. And what I'm recognizing is that maybe for worse sometimes, and like there's that internal like maybe you shouldn't do that that I need to listen to or pay heed to a little bit more because I don't know, like like not everybody wants to get a smooch or wants to get
This is
like
true. I want to
and
make it clear I was joking. Consent is important. Don't just randomly kiss people. But Clay, if I ever knock on wood, cross fingers, if I ever win a Stoker, am I allowed to kiss you?
absolutely.
We'll go tasteful. We'll no tongue, just
Yeah.
very very chaste. No, but I remember I was so happy for you, not just because like obviously you won, and that's great that you won, but I remember talking to you about Shiny Happy People before it was out in the world, and it was your first young adult kind of thing, and you were very like, I don't know if I got this right. I tried my best. I hope people like it, and then you get to do that. Which brings me to Devil Inside, because this is another like a thing that I keep saying something you've never done before. That's not to say that you've written the same book twice or three or four times up until now, but I know that this was also a case of you really stretching yourself to
Yeah.
find a new uh avenue of storytelling. So what was it like getting into the world of Devil Inside?
Hmm. I mean, it's interesting, and again, like this is the thing. You always talk to me in these moments where like it's before the book comes out, so like the jury is still out. Like, and I think that given the fact that this is a different, it's it is a subgenre, and I feel like it is that weird Venn diagram of two very disparate different genres that do have a kind of middle ground. Um, I think the interesting challenge is how to convince horror readers to come a little bit further into the middle and convince romance readers to come in a little bit into the middle and kind of meet in this place. And I think that a lot do. But it has been interesting how like there's like ever since I announced the project, like there's been some folks have been like, oh, I don't read romance or I don't really do horror. And it's like, well, this is something in the hopefully in the middle. Um, though I do think if I'm being honest, this is a horror story embedded within the structure, the framework of a romance novel. And it utilizes the beats of romance, a romance story to kind of tell a horror story. So it's definitely been a very interesting kind of like steep learning curve of like how to play within this particular genre because I had to play by the rules of romance more than horror, which I think makes the romance all the more horrifying. Um, but I don't know if it makes the horror more romantic. I don't know.
Well, there is. So for those who don't know, Shiny Happy People is about a bike, not Shiny Happy People. I'm sorry. Devil Inside. I have it literally right next to me. Devil
Yeah, yeah,
Inside. Amazing cover, by the way. Gorgeous cover.
yeah.
Um, Devil Inside is about a bike messenger named Jordan who has an accident, has an experience where uh he died basically, like technically dead for a couple minutes.
Yeah.
Uh Survived, made it out, and he meets this very enchanting woman named Lilith who can we say what can we say, Clay?
Yeah, I mean, Lilith is a demon,
Lilith is a
but also,
demon,
I
yes.
mean, like what's amazing is that yeah, Jordan dies within the first 10 pages of the book, and he goes down.
Yeah.
HE double hockey sticks, like the bad place, like it's whatever this world calls it, the underworld, like he goes south, and given the fact that he is revived, resuscitated, survives after 2 minutes, in the bad place. He comes back, and not only is his body kind of just destroyed from this bike accident, but he's also he has to face the fact that like he's damned, he's doomed. Like it's like he has the second kind of reprieve before kicking the bucket again, which is inevitable. But it comes with this knowledge of he's when death comes again, he's going back. And I think that sets him on a kind of a path, like it kind of rocks him a little bit. And who does he meet within his kind of, he's kind of been convalescing and suddenly kind of coming out of his shocked shell. And he goes out with his friends for the first time in like over a year. And who does he meet but this woman, uh, and she says that she's Lilith, and they have a lovely evening together. But it turns out that Lilith is not, in fact, who Lilith says they are, and they are, in fact, a demon. And it's it's the book is the two of them kind of navigating the complexities and difficulties of two individuals wanting to be together and not knowing how, and
Yep.
bringing out the best in one another, which ends up being the worst in each other. And yeah, it's a nasty book.
It has an incredible scene. It, like you said, you're following all of the romance novel beats here. Um so you have the scene where after they have their passion, their night of passion, and they realize that they kind of can't resist each other and they're drawn to each other for reasons they can't explain because they don't really know each other. They have to have that awkward morning pillow talk
Yeah,
about like, okay, we don't really want to be apart, but you're a demon and I'm a dead man. How do we do this?
yeah,
What does this even look like?
yeah,
And I love how raw that is, and I also really love the. I want to ask you about two things here that are non-spoilery because the book is out Tuesday, so you got to pick it up if you haven't already pre-ordered it. Pre-ordered Devil Inside, go get it. One is like you said, you have Jordan.
uh-oh, did I lose you?
So you have Jordan's POV and Lila, you know, he's just a guy trying to navigate the weird situation. And then you have Lilith, who is and just thinks about the world completely differently than a normal human would. So what was like getting into Lilith's voice like for you?
um Getting Lilith was definitely the bigger kind of greater challenge of the book. Um, Jordan, you know, he's kind of a crusty dude. Like he's kind of our Peter Murphy, kind of like vamped out, kind of woe is me Baudelaire poet type. Um, but Lilith is this kind of someone that is coming into our world who's kind of attuned to it but not of it, and therefore the challenge is Lilith becoming kind of more grounded or more of a kind of independent spirit, I guess you could say. um, Lilith's job basically is to drag, like to tip the scales and convince people to kind of succumb to their baser nature. So if you have like a little inkling of sin in you, Lilith basically just says burp and like pushes, like really kind of encourages you. Like it really is just the kind of like the devil on your shoulder kind of whispering into your ear like you want to be bad. You really want to be bad. I know you do. And I feel like a lot of us probably do want to be bad. So if Lilith can just convince, get people to kind of tip the scales a little bit more into the immoral, the hedonistic, the bad stuff, once you die, down you go, and that's when the demons just nom, 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 like just eat you. Like they just like that's their food. And I mean, like so Lilith coming to our world is with intent and purpose, but once they meet Jordan, all of a sudden that kind of agenda is just thrown out of whack, and it becomes something different. Yeah. So, honestly, like Lilith just kind of allowed me an opportunity to speak. And this is the thing, like when we talk about like demonic possession, and that idea of some entity kind of entering, invading, violating our bodies, like that to me is so terrifying that I, I wanted to kind of think of like the notion of possession in terms of love. Like what is possession, and like how does one become possessed? And you know, these are all the kind of questions and complexities that I was trying to like explore and navigate when writing the book and figuring Lilith out.
The other thing I want to ask, I was so excited to read the opening chapter of this book and realize that it was a Richmond book. I know, like, because Ghost Eaters was the first thing of yours I had ever read, and that is a
Yeah,
Richmond book. And I know how much Richmond means to you. Like,
yeah, yeah,
you and Lamb of God are Richmond, Virginia's greatest cultural exports.
yeah.
Um, why was Richmond the right place for this book to be set? Richmond, Virginia, by the way. I don't know if I said that, but Virginia.
I mean, it's so funny. It might be a, like a protective blanket more than anything. When I wrote Ghost Eaters, I wanted it to be in a place that I loved and was familiar with, like aware of. Like I wanted the city itself to be a character within that book. And I think when I was propositioned with the opportunity to write Devil Inside, I had that kind of uncertainty, kind of nervousness of doing something a little bit different, a little bit new, uncharted territory for me personally. So I returned to Richmond as a means of like I want to root this story in a place that I know. And that's because like the bike culture there was wild. Like there were like I'm totally blanking on the name of what I called it in the book, but like those midnight runs of just like bikers just like riding in the middle of the street at midnight. And like the punk culture has always been a part of Richmond. And I just felt like that was valuable in kind of establishing a foundation for these two characters. Because I don't know, like I think about like raw love and like maybe like raw becomes toxic pretty quickly, like that kind of like dangerous love, like that sense of like something that feels like you're playing with fire. Like that was, Richmond in my 20s, even though I didn't live in Richmond in my 20s, like the kind of frenetic kinetic energy of that city. I don't know, I just wanted to tap into it.
You definitely did. Like, I've never been to Richmond, but I want to go so badly because I read your books. Um, but now we're going to talk about. Normally on this show, we do one story at a time. We ask writers to come in and what is a horror story that's important to you, and why. But this is a special episode, everybody. We're live on YouTube in front of dozens of people. Um, and so we are going to talk about. I asked Clay to bring his 5 favorite demonic possession horror films. I put my crucifix on the wall over here just in
Oh my
case
God.
we
Yeah.
we tempt something that should not be tempted. Um, what order do you want to do this in, Clay? Do you want to just go like release order or
Yeah, I mean,
order of
I'll follow your
importance to you?
lead. Um, I, make it spontaneous to me. So you call them out. But are we gonna do three or are we gonna do five?
We'll do all five. Yeah, we got time.
Oh boy. Okay. All right. If you say so.
Yeah, let's do it. I mean, we might not talk about each of them for an hour, but we'll
Yeah,
talk
yeah, yeah.
about them.
Done.
So this doing it in release order is good because the first movie, if you go by release order, like has a major sort of plot mechanic that is present in Devil Inside, and that is Fallen, the
Yeah.
1998 film starring Denzel Washington as a
Oh my
cop
God.
uh, who believes that he has just seen the worst serial killer he's ever caught put to death in the gas chamber, only to find that murders have started up again, and they seem to be connected to this guy. Um, the thing that immediately that the two have in common, the movie in your book, is that you also have a demon who can jump from body to body very quickly.
Yeah.
Um, so what do you like? What makes Fallen, other than it just being like a really fun, weird movie? Like, what makes it important to you?
Um, I mean, it's a blast. Like I was actually watching it. I was pre-gaming and I watched like the first half of it, two-thirds of it before hopping on here. Um, I mean, like, don't you just love like mid-career? I guess it's early mid-career now, Denzel Washington,
Oh
where
hell
it's
yeah,
like the 90s, I don't think we're like post-glory, post like, like the 80s, like when Denzel kind of like hit the ground running, everyone was like
hmm
Denzel Washington. But then he just did a string of like Ricochet or uh, what is the one with Russell Crowe, the Synchronicity or something like that, or
yeah, 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 yeah,
yeah, like all of these like cop, like either it's like sci-fi cop or like horror cop or like cop John Lithgow cop, like he just did like a whole stretch of you know moderately okay but like total fun junk food
yeah.
procedurals.
Like that era between Philadelphia and Training Day, which is kind of his ultimate cop movie.
Yeah, yeah. Was it after Philadelphia? It couldn't have
It was
been.
after, yeah. Philadelphia was 94, and this was 98.
What? So
Yeah,
he did Glory, he did something, 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 he did Philadelphia, and
yeah.
then he does Ricochet, he does Synchronicity, he does, oh my God. Like, who was Denzel Washington in that moment? Like, he was like cashing in, he was like not like I'm like really kind of curious like if he has ever spoken to like I wanted to do uh John Q or whatever all of those like strange like drama-ish cop-ish procedurals.
I don't know. That would be a really interesting conversation to have with them, to just like look at like Denzel Washington, the blockbuster years, and just see, because this is and when I say blockbuster, I mean popular film, but I also mean thing that you would watch, that you would rent at Blockbuster on a Friday night and take home and watch just because you were curious. And this was Denzel Washington fighting demons.
Fighting
Um,
demons. Azazel.
so Azazel, which is
Azazel.
that's the best part of the movie, is hearing Denzel Washington over and over be like, Azazel.
Azazel.
Does the word Azazel mean anything to you? But also like great cast: John Goodman, James Gandolfini,
James Gandolfini.
Donald Sutherland is their captain. Like it's stacked.
Yeah. Donald Sutherland in this one is just so rancorous. I feel like again, like, he's kind of at a point in his career where he's just taking all the like, you know, the captains or the kind of morally questionable person in charge. But he just like snarls through the whole movie. I'm kind of flummoxed by Donald Sutherland in this one. Because I know the last time in November we talked about him in Invasion of the Body Snatchers,
Yep.
and like, I don't know, I I mourn that Donald Sutherland and not like Virus or like I feel like the '90s were not kind to our marquee actors.
I will say Donald Sutherland in the 90s, at least if you don't like anything else he did have that one scene in JFK, which rules.
That's true. That's
Um,
true.
so but as a possession movie, this one is very strange because there's no exorcism. There's no
Yeah.
like we're gonna tie this person down to a bed and pray at them until they're better. There's no even an attempt at that. It's literally just like, oh, the guy that I killed was not a a person. He was a demon, and when that guy died, he just jumped into another body, and now he's
Yeah.
killing more people, and he's gonna kill my family if I don't stop him.
Yeah.
Um,
Great
it
premise.
great premise and great and the other thing that makes it really fun, and we're gonna spoil it, but it came out in 1998. It's almost 30 years old, so everybody, strap in. But he has this what the thing I love about it is I watched it for the first time for this, and he has this sort of film noir detective monologue going on throughout the movie, this voiceover where
Yeah.
he's kind of narrating it and is a little and it feels a little weird. It feels kind of out of place, and you're like, why does he keep narrating it? Like, he doesn't need to narrate it necessarily. But you get to the end, and the way he tries to beat the demon is by getting the demon to come into his own body and then poisoning himself.
Yeah.
um and as he dies, you realize that he has not been narrating the movie. Azazel, the demon, has been narrating the movie in the body of Denzel Washington.
Yeah. Yeah. Pretty
It's
slick.
amazing.
I mean, I'm gonna just. I mean, I'll cop to it. It's not gonna be any surprise. Like, Devil Inside borrows liberally from Fallen, uh, but I'm really curious if any other film or story has ever done this because it seems like such a no-brainer. Where like, when we think of demonic possession tropes or films, it's always like a gradual, kind of slow, kind of like, the possession kind of like has to come in waves and like the spirit of the hosts, succumbs to possession and it's like, oh, I'm hearing voices or like there's scratching in the walls or but this is just like, no, I just have to touch you and like that's all it takes. And I love the fluidity of that like, you know, vessels are it's like a current, it's like an electrical kind of circuit that like you tap one to another and the conductor just kind of like it allows passage in this one in Fallen. I mean, they're like possessing cats, they're possessing they play pretty fast and loose with their rules. The one kind of specific thing that I do differently moderately is that there needs to be skin on skin contact. You need to like flesh needs to touch flesh in order for the current of the demon to kind of pass into the body of another human host. Um, and you know, for me, I'm really I wanna know if there's anything else out there that does that similar thing of like touch is all it takes for a demon or a ghost or any kind of possessing entity to kind of like hop from one body to the next. Because I'll shut up, I swear. But I
No, no,
heard
no, you're fine.
I haven't seen it yet, but I hear the new Spider-Man movie does it, and I'm very, very curious to check that out.
Yeah, I was about to bring that up. That's exactly what I was about to say. Is like it's not the Spider-Man Brand New Day is not about demonic possession, but it does have a device where an entity travels through people by touch and by just like zipping between bodies very quickly. Rob from the Arc Party very wisely pointed out Donald Sutherland in the 90s also had Backdraft, which rules.
That's true.
Love
That's a good one.
love Backdraft. So the next one up is another one of it's a little more conventional, like right up until it isn't, and that is Lovely Molly. which was released in 2011. Yes, 2011, directed and co-written by Eduardo Sanchez, best known for
The Blair
co-writing,
Witch.
co-directing Blair Witch Project. Yeah. Um, and Lovely Molly is a very simple. It's rural horror, which is very near and dear to my heart. I love a country horror story, but it's about a woman named Molly who marries. It's actually weirdly similar in setup to another movie we're going to talk about later, but she marries a guy that she fell in love. She gets married. Everything's cool. She's moving into her childhood home because both of her parents are gone, and they're fixing up the house. They're doing all the stuff they're gonna do, and then weird stuff just starts happening with Molly. She starts to feel this old darkness in the house. Um, and she had an abusive father. Like, they make that very clear that her father was a monster. But then they start to play with, like, oh no, wait, your father was a literal monster in that he was not completely human, which leads to all sorts of wild stuff. I love this movie because it's such a character piece. It's such a
Yeah.
good character focused possession movie.
Yeah. Um, what is the lead actress's name?
Her name is, oh gosh, where's the cast? Where's the cast? There's the cast. Gretchen Lodge, that's her name.
Uh, I I don't know if I ever saw her in anything else, but I remember being really taken by this. And you know, I think the reason why I picked it was because it I don't know if it was like kind of forging completely new ground, but I do think it like used the idea of possession in an interesting way. Like it was trying to like say something with it, and the kind of like, is this in fact demonic possession, or is there a supernatural entity versus is it all within her kind of mental state? And I really appreciate it because it's quiet but really uncomfortable. Like it's a really, I think it's like an uncomfortable movie. Like there's that one scene, uh, I won't spoil anything, I swear, but like she's like in the back, like she's in the hallway, in like some kind of like her work, or like she's like in a back room, and like she starts to like have an episode that
Mm-hmm.
is, you know, it is unclear what is happening to her, but it's very uncomfortable watching it. Like the most muted, subdued version of Isabella Ajani in Possession. You know,
Yeah.
like it is kind of that ilk, but it just a kind of quieter version of it. And you're just watching her, and it's just like, but that's the scene that really kind of resonates with me, sticks with me.
It's also a movie that I think bears without spoiling too much about Devil Inside. This is one of those movies because so many possession movies are about um, something awful is happening to this one person. The Exorcist is the formula for this, right? Something awful is happening to this one person, and we have to try to contain it. And the thing with Molly is she has again, she has a history of abuse in her household. She has a history of domestic abuse. She has a history of drug addiction. She's a recovering heroin addict. Um, to the point that like her sister is smoking a joint at one point, and she says, "Give me a hit off the joint." And her sister's like, "Are you crazy? No, you're a
Mm.
heroin addict. What's wrong with you?" Um, so there's all of that, and you get to so everyone around her is like, oh, she's like relapsing,
Hmm.
or she's just having a bunch of bad memories of living in this house, and that's making her erratic and upset. um but then you actually get to see what she does when she's possessed, and what she does when she's possessed is absolutely brutal. There's a shot in this movie where she bites a guy's lip and wrestles him to the ground, still biting his lip, and is just
Mm.
biting and biting and biting and biting. It's one of the most upsetting things I can remember seeing recently. Um, this is a very under the radar movie, but it's really like, Gretchen Lodge is great in it. It's a really
Yeah.
great. There's some great little found footage snippets because she has a camcorder and she
Yeah.
starts using the camcorder to kind of try to document what's happening to her because she knows no one is going to believe her. And the camcorder bits, I mean, coming from Eduardo Sanchez, like they're great found footage stuff. They're really
Yeah.
scary.
I it kills me, thinking of what is it, Daniel Myrick and Eduardo Sanchez,
Yep.
and just the idea of them having created one of the kind of foundational horror texts of the century. Um, love it or hate it, like it changed the culture, you know, horror and pop culture. Um, and I just always marvel at this idea of like the two guys who enabled and created this thing with their cast, um, suddenly could not for the life of them make anything else. Like they were like the blessing and the curse of their success was that it just took so many kind of failed projects. Like I remember them talking about like they wanted to do like like a rom-com or like some like musical or something like right after uh Blair Witch. And just like all these things just kind of came and went and nothing ever hit. Um and it, so to see Lovely Molly as kind of the contribution, like these are the stories we could have had or might have had more of if the powers that be were a little bit kinder.
Yeah.
Really,
Yeah.
really kind of I mourn what could have been.
Yeah, I hope they get to keep making stuff. And yeah, I really like Lovely Molly. So I said we were going to go in release order, and then I promptly did not mention the oldest movie on the list. So we're not going in release order. We're going to double back now, and we're going to talk about one of the greatest horror movies of the 1990s, at least, if not of all time, The Exorcist 3. Uh, Written and directed by William Peter Blatty, the creator of the original Exorcist, who wrote the first novel. This was started as a film project because Exorcist 2 happened without Blatty or William Friedkin working on it, and people didn't like Exorcist 2. And so then the idea was, well, we'll get the original writer and the original director back, and we'll make Exorcist 3. And it just didn't get off the ground, and Friedkin decided he didn't want to do it and went and did other stuff. And so Blatty wrote this novel called Legion that was based on the original like film treatment for Exorcist 3. And then that did well enough that it was like, well, why don't you do Exorcist 3 again? Why don't you like make a movie? Why don't we actually do Exorcist 3? We'll take your novel and we'll make a movie. And he got to write and direct this underappreciated until very recently absolute banger of a, it's like Fallen. It is a serial killer possession, sort of half procedural, half character piece story. George C. Scott plays Kinderman, who was one of the cops in the original Exorcist. Um, and basically, he knew Father Karras, the amazing exorcist, uh, played by Jason Miller in the original film, and these murders start happening that are tied to a killer who supposedly died in the electric chair some years ago, and he has to start figuring out why these things are happening again. I get something new from Exorcist 3 every time I watch it. When I threw it on earlier this week to prep for this, I realized that I'd forgotten how fucking funny it is. It's so
Well,
funny.
that's the thing. Like William Peter Blatty is this like comedy writer,
Yeah, he cut his
and
teeth writing comedies. Yeah.
yeah, like Borscht Belt kind of like funny stuff and one-liners like zippy kind of dialogue, and what it like remains in the original Exorcist. Uh, it's just used. It's usually Kinderman that's doing the kind of like the kind of the sharp witty banter. Um, but William Peter Blatty gets nothing like once he's here for Legion and once he's doing Exorcist 3, it's almost like the kind of the opposite. Like the floodgates open and it's just like Borscht Belt kind of like, you know, like witty, snappy kind of like dialogue that like it to my ear, like I hear it and I'm like, this is what would have happened if Friedkin hadn't reined Blatty
Yep.
in, you
Yep.
know? Um, and I'm sure that pissed Blatty off to no end. And I mean, I've read plenty of interviews where he says as much, like, so having his opportunity to shine without anyone kind of taking it away other than the studio eventually, like I think it makes sense that it would be snappier.
There are just so many great little jokes that are just offhand. They're just like, hey, we'll just throw out a zinger. Like
Yeah.
the key like relationship in the movie is between Kinderman, who's George C. Scott, and Ed Flanders as Father Dyer, who was another guy who knew Father Karras. And they have a tradition that on the day of Karras's death, the anniversary of his death, which is also the anniversary of the exorcism at the end of The Exorcist, they they just go hang out, go to the movies together, and just
Yeah.
try to forget how sad they are that that happened to their friend. And it's been 15 years, and they've been doing this for a while, and they just have this rat-a-tat rapport that's it's they feel like old friends, and Scott and Flanders play it so well. My
Hmm.
favorite line in the movie is Father Dyer has to go into the hospital for some tests because he's having some issues, um, and he's having these weird symptoms, and George C. Scott goes in to visit him and says, "Hey, are you okay?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'm sure I'm fine. It's the same symptoms my brother had, and it never bothered him." And George C. Scott goes, "Your brother died at the age of 30," and the priest cuts back with, "He was killed in Vietnam. What are you talking about?" And then he says, "Well, there could be a connection." There's also a bit where he's reading Women's Wear Daily, and Kinderman makes fun of him for reading Women's Wear Daily, and he's like, "I'm a priest. Am I supposed to minister to the people in a vacuum? I have to keep up on the latest fashions." So
Amazing.
it's really funny. It is also much more. I don't know if it's more gruesome than The Exorcist, but it's more violent because it takes place. There's no containment to it. There's no like, oh, Reagan McNeil is doing these
Yeah.
awful things because she's possessed by a demon. It's you don't know when or where this is going to strike. And it has those amazing shears, those like bone shears that are used. It has what some people have called the greatest jump scare in the history of horror films. Um, what about it like reaches out and grabs you and like makes it an essential for you?
Brad motherfucking Dourif.
Hell yeah.
That monologue that he delivers, where it's basically you're just looking at his face
Mm-hmm.
for maybe like 5 minutes. It is a long, protracted monologue of Brad Dourif is what is it? The Zodiac? He's what
The
some killer.
the the Gemini killer.
Gemini killer. And he's been institutionalized. He's in this hospital, uh, you know, and Kinderman comes to visit him, and they have these kind of like philosophical, spiritual tete-a-tetes with one another. And the things, the monologue that Brad Dourif delivers, I I know people go to One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. He was nominated for an Oscar for that. I know, there's been a Dourif renaissance. But like I feel as if 90s, this was what, 80, when did this come out? 92,
90.
89, 8,
90.
90? Okay. Um, like that era, Brad Dourif to me was the best Dourif. I mean, yes, Child's Play came out in 88, but I love Body Parts. I love this. And it's because when he's in genre movies, he's always the best part. Like he always rises to the occasion. But like William Peter Blatty just gave him 10 pages of script of just uninterrupted monologue. And it is some of the most terrifying unnerving stuff I've heard, and it's because it's coming from Brad Dourif. It's beautiful, beautiful.
He's so good in it. Like, and he makes everything better. Like, did you ever see Graveyard Shift, the
Yeah.
adaptation of the
Oh
Stephen
my
King
God.
short story?
He's
He's
amazing in that.
incredible. He's incredible in Graveyard Shift. He's great on. I'm a Deadwood fan, so I love him as the Doc on Deadwood. He's brilliant.
Which is
Um,
like the most understated, like that, like it's the Dourif performance because he reins it in on Deadwood, where everything else he's just like fireworks, firecracker, like it's just like, oh man, I'm just gonna chew the fuck out of this scenery, and it's just beautiful. Um, I love me some Dourif. I
I
love
don't
me
know.
some 80s and 90s Dourif.
I love all. I celebrate the entire catalog to the point that my wife, who I'm pretty sure is watching along right now, uh, can attest. There's a bit in, I think it's at the end of the Pit season one, because Fiona Dourif, his daughter, is one of the main
Yeah.
characters on the Pit. There's a bit where he shows up and he's playing her dad, and it's just a
Hmm.
cameo. It's just one scene. He comes in, he talks to her about something, and then he leaves. But sitting on the couch at full volume, I just suddenly went, "Holy shit, it's Brad Dourif!"
Oh my God. I love that
And
moment. That
she
was a
didn't
great moment.
understand why I was so excited, and I was like, "He doesn't do this stuff anymore except voice work."
Like,
Um,
don't you understand? That's Fiona Durf's dad in real life, but not in it's in the show too. And like, it's a beautiful thing. Beautiful thing.
and that jump scare, which is one of the best jump scares, I think, because it comes from such an unexpected place.
Yeah.
Um, like, for those who may be listening who don't know, it takes place in a hospital hallway. And when I say hospital hallway, I don't mean like we're following someone in a tracking shot down a hospital hallway. I mean, the camera is at one end of the hallway, and the nurse's station with all the people at it is at the other end of the hallway. And we watch for, I don't know how long, a couple of minutes, as security guards sort of amble in and out, and nurses are going in and out of rooms doing nurse stuff. It's late at night, so there aren't visitors or anything like that. And you just start you it makes you get complacent, and it does it to me every single time. I'm
Yeah.
always like, okay, so it's going to be right here where this nurse goes into this room, right? No, it's not that. No, we're still just watching them work. Okay, I guess I'll just sit here. Look, holy shit! And then
Yeah. But isn't
it
it
happens.
amazing? That movie, if that movie came out in 90, like it was not a success. Like it kind of bombed, I
A
think.
little bit, yeah. It
Yeah.
was not a hit, was not a big hit. Yeah.
Um, and I think we forgot it for quite a while. But I think through the power of the internet, power of something, that jump scare became the kind of fundamental, like everybody started talking about it and reevaluating it and revisiting it. Um, but like decades later, like
Yeah.
good maybe 10, like easy 10 years, maybe 20 years, like all of a sudden that movie is reconsidered a classic or masterpiece because it brings us that kind of Val Lewton jump scare
Yep.
that I it feels like like mimetic culture or like online culture, social media culture, like finding it and bringing it back from the dead, which it just blows my mind how like you know that movie kind of got lost. Like like I don't think anybody really wanted it, and then like people kind of shrug, and then like years later, it's like no, this is like this is one of the best.
It's so good.
Mm.
Um, okay, we're past the halfway point in the films we're discussing. So, uh, anybody out there watching, if you have questions for Clay, if you have questions for the both of us about Devil Inside, about possession movies, about horror in general,
Or
uh,
anything. Matthew's birthday. What he's gonna do for his birthday?
anything you want. I'll tell you about all the knickknacks on the shelf behind me if you want me to. I don't know why you'd want that, but whatever. Yeah, just throw whatever questions you have in the chat, and we'll get to them as we start to wrap up in a little bit. But right now, we're going to talk about um when you sent me this list of movies. I've seen a lot of possession horror, but this was kind of fun because two of the movies I had seen, three of them I had not.
Hmm.
Um, And of the three I had not seen, this was the one that I'm coming away like, oh, this is a new favorite of mine, and I'm gonna like keep this one in my back pocket. And that is the film Demon from 2015, uh, directed and co-written by I don't know how to pronounce his name, Marcin Rona, who's sadly no longer with us. It is
Yeah.
a Polish psychological horror film, very similar in structure to Lovely Molly, but with a few key differences. It's about a guy named Piotr who is he's ethnically Polish. He comes from a Polish family, but he lives in London because his family immigrated. Um, and he is marrying this woman who is a native of Poland, and he's going to go live on her family's land because she has this old house that was her grandfather's that she wants to fix up. So he moves out there. The family is a little suspicious of him and is like, oh, these two kids want to get married. They don't know anything. They barely know each other. This is stupid, but it's what our daughter wants. So we'll, let it happen. So they're trying to make the grounds of this old estate look nice for the wedding because they're having the wedding reception in the barn. Um, and he's out there with a backhoe one day, and he
Hmm.
knocks a tree. He knocks a tree up out of the ground. He accidentally bumps into a tree, uproots it, and finds a skeleton underneath, and becomes weirdly obsessed with this skeleton. And it turns out that the skeleton contains a vengeful spirit, which then possesses him. It is such a simple narrative, and yet the casting, the photography, the sense of humor. This is another movie that's really funny in some oddball ways. It got me. It hit me right in the gut. Like, what do you
Yeah.
remember about seeing this movie the first time?
Uh, it's gorgeous. I mean, like on genuinely, like it may be my favorite of all of these if I had to pick a favorite. Um, and I genuinely believe it's because of the craftsmanship. Such a tragic story. The director, the filmmaker, committed suicide at the second film festival that it was screening at, and
Yeah,
um, I mean, I can't even imagine. The movie itself just feels so kind of loaded with uh, meaning and intent. You know, you always, I feel like if you're gonna watch a demonic possession movie these days, like there has to be a reason behind it. You know, I'm really tired of the exorcist tropes, the they're comfort food but these movies are so paint by numbers these days, but this one really felt new, and just the simplicity that you're talking about, it like really plays in its favor. And when he comes to the dance floor, when he's like doing his like there are moments that are just like seared into your head, and it's a slow quiet movie, and I feel like you can't like any kind of like what like oh you got to watch this movie because is going to do the movie a disservice, other than just me pleading with you to watch it because it is a bona fide like masterpiece. Like I just think it is like a horror masterpiece.
it really is, and part of it is it is one of those movies that's really good at making you feel uncomfortable in subtle ways. Like obviously, like you're coming in hoping to watch a demonic possession movie, you're gonna get that. That's gonna happen. But the movie is bookended by shots of a ferry crossing a river in Poland, and the story behind it is there was a bridge. The bridge was destroyed by the Germans during World War II. No one's ever rebuilt it, so now they have this ferry. And there's a shot at the beginning and a shot at the end where the ferry is disembarking, or the ferry is embarking, is leaving the shore, where you can't tell for a minute if the ferry's moving or the camera's moving or
Hmm.
both, but it creates this weird visual swirl that is just so disorienting and weird, and it makes you feel uh like it's so discombobulating, and so many of the visuals in the movie are like that. I also just love that most of it takes place at a Polish wedding, which means that everyone is completely shit faced for
Yeah.
about 70% of the movie, which leads to some amazing moments of offbeat humor.
Did you ever get kind of caught up in the dogma movement? All the Lars von Trier movies and like yeah, like that kind of era of like mid to late 90s like movies that kind of followed like a very strict kind of regiment of like, you know, only handheld, pre-existing soundtrack, no artificial lighting, like all natural lighting. Like,
Yeah,
did
yeah,
you
yeah, yeah.
um there was one film in that called The Celebration, uh, which is I think like the original title is like Festin, um, but the translation is Celebration. Like that movie with a demon possession. It's like there's something so kind of like I don't know, handcrafted about this movie. It's not found footage, but it does feel like I don't know, like you can feel the 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 hands behind it, and I don't know. I just genuinely love it.
I love it too. Like I'm gonna friend of the show, Gretchen Felker Martin, when I posted last night that I was watching this, and she just replied, yes, all caps. So I know it has admirers. I had just
Yeah,
somehow never seen it, and I love it. And it's gonna be on my list and in my rotation now
yeah.
of great demon horror movies.
As
Um,
it should, as it should.
and I should mention, and this is a good segue into our last film, which, by the way, questions, if you have questions, drop them in the chat. If you don't, I will just keep talking to Clay because we have been known to do that for far too long. But we're going to talk about the Demon is a demonic possession film rooted in Jewish folklore.
Mhm.
Our last film is also a demonic possession film rooted in Jewish folklore. It's called Attachment. It was written and directed by Gabriel Bier Gislason or Gislason. Uh, Released in 2022, came on Shutter in 2023. I remember seeing this at festivals.
Oh
I don't
wow.
remember which festival it was, but I I read the synopsis about it, and some publicist or other was like, "We have links." I said, "Yeah, send it." And I fell in love. I adore this movie. I also think it's the most one-on-one comparison to Devil Inside because it
Yeah.
is it is a horror romance. It's a love story,
Yeah. Yeah.
and it's
Yeah.
about a young woman named Maya, who is a former child actress living in it's it's Danish, right? Yeah, it's Danish. Living in Denmark, meets a visiting student named Leah, who's from London. They are instantly attracted to each other, and it's one of those things very similar to something like Before Sunrise, where they just don't want to leave each other. They just are glued to each other and get to know each other very quickly. And then Leah gets injured. She breaks her leg in an accident, so she has to go home to London and be with her mother. And she says, "I don't want to be apart from you, Maya. Will you please come to London with me?" And it turns out her mother is this very overbearing, very orthodox Jewish woman who has a very strict way of doing things, and that includes all of these weird charms to ward off evil that are all around her house. She gives Maya an amulet to wear and says, "Wear this; it'll protect you." She has spirit bowls tucked under cabinets. There are candles around the house that burn at different times of day and night to ward off evil. Why? Because Leah got a demon in her, and Leah doesn't necessarily know that she has a demon in her, but the her family and the sort of Jewish community in London that her family is a part of have all sort of conspired to keep this a secret. But because Leah wants to go out into the world and have a life of her own, it's starting to become harder and harder to keep that secret. I love this movie.
Yeah. It's it's a gorgeous movie because it's like about choices. Like, you know, if you're if you're in a relationship and you're kind of at the precipice of it, it's new and like the commitment is beginning, but you're not in all the way yet. So you're at this like it's almost like you're at the fork in the road of like this is either the end of the relationship or the beginning of a long-term kind of commitment. And you can see that fork in the road of like if you know if anyone else was in this situation, she would what's the I'm blanking on the girlfriend's name.
Maya.
Maya could leave and just be like, and she's kind of pushed out. She's like, this doesn't concern you anymore. Like this is like leave, go. And anyone else would probably be like, F this, like I'm out. Like I don't need this. This is just too weird or, I don't want to deal with your baggage. But she commits. She makes the choice to stay and like I feel like that is the kind of foundation of true romance, like true love of like, I'm going to be here by your side no matter what. And it just so happens the no matter what in this case is demonic possession. And, who amongst us would make that decision? Who would be brave enough or have the kind of the stuff, the sterner stuff to kind of say, I love you, and we'll see this through together. I love that.
And it also has this amazing it does this amazing thing that is trickier than it sounds. It's so weird when you talk about storytelling and you say these things out loud and you go, well, of course the story would do that, but executing it, especially in the range of a feature film, is difficult. Which is when they get back to London and they meet Leah's mom. She is just immediately standoffish and very direct and very blunt. And there's a bookshop owner because Maya starts finding all these weird charms around the house and she doesn't know what they are because she's not Jewish. Um, she goes to a local bookshop, like a rabbinical bookshop, where an Orthodox Jewish bookseller starts to tell her, like, "Oh, well, if you want to know about what that is, you should read this, and if you want to know what this is, you should read this." And um, it turns out that he's related to Leah. He's like an uncle or something, and so Leah's mom goes to him and is like, "What are you doing giving her girlfriend these books? She's not supposed to know these things." But the longer the movie goes on, you understand that Leah's possession, even when it's dormant, has this tremendous effect on her mother. And it is a story of a mother loving a daughter as much as it is a story of this new romance
Yeah.
blossoming. And that's very hard to do because when you meet Leah's mom, you're just like, oh my gosh, get out of the way. Let these two kids have a good time.
Yeah.
And then you realize, like, oh no, she has been in the trenches with this for decades and it weighs on her. And she carries this burden in silence, all because she loves her daughter. And it ends with like an absolute emotional gut punch. And I love it.
Yeah. It's a beautiful film. I would suggest if you're looking for a literary correlative to it, there's this demonic possession book that I love that's I think horror romance adjacent, even though it's not packaged as a horror romance, but it's called Feast While You Can.
Mm.
And it's actually written by two authors. And I'm going to reference it because it's Michaela Clements and Anjuli Datta. Feast While You Can came out a couple years ago, and I love that book so much. I think it shares a kinship to attachment. That like can the relationship survive a demon? And can we see this through together? Can we make it out the other end unscathed?
This this might be a good time to like talk about we're talking about possession movies, but what are your favorite possession books? I mean,
Hmm.
you just mentioned that one. Like I would add for years people were talking about Sarah Grant's Come
Oh my
Closer.
God. If you asked the question, and in my head, it was like, come closer. It's got to be
Come
come closer.
Closer.
Yeah.
And that was one of those books that so many people had told me this book is incredible. This book is incredible. That in your head you start going, how incredible is this book really? And
Yeah.
then you read it, and first of all, it's very short. It's like
Very short.
maybe just above novella length, so it's like a couple
It's
hundred
like
pages or
200
something.
pages. Yeah. Yeah.
And it's just one of the most brutal, unflinching, amazing things. Like you can read it in one night, and you will because you will not want to let go of the book.
Yeah. That is a fun, like a foundational text.
Mhm.
I I I love that book. I've tried to learn from it. Like that was like I when I was writing Wake Up and Open Your Eyes, there was this whole middle section of like a family of four
Mhm.
succumbing to demonic possession. And the challenge for me was like I want to try to do Come Closer times four with a family of four, but by different angles of possession. Um, I mean, that book, like, it is, there are like a couple word of mouth books that I think it just exist because people love them so much that they need to tell other people about them. Uh, what's the Christopher Buehlman book, Between Two Fires?
Between Two Fires, yeah.
Yeah, like these books, they exist and like they're bestsellers because like A, they're amazing, but B, they're the readers of them are like you have to read. Like word of mouth books exist purely off of the like the love of their readers. Library at Mount Char, like, you know,
Yep.
cult books that like, you know, maybe weren't bestsellers in their day, but like have longevity, like they have tales. And it's because someone every day is like, this is the best book that's ever been written, and you have to read it.
Experimental film by Gemma Files. Everybody go read it. It's one of the best books of the 21st century so far. Um, Hey, yeah, speaking of that moment in Wake Up and Open Your Eyes, you have you have awful things happening to people with a pizza cutter in that book. You have awful things happening to people with a meat tenderizer and Devil Inside. Do you just walk into your kitchen and look around and find things and like, has anyone ever fucked somebody up with this thing yet? Can I try this?
Um, my wife is a foodie and she cooks a lot. And uh we have a lot of strange implements in the house. So every so often I'll be like, what does this do? Like I'll pick it up and be like, what is this a thing? Like what do you use this for? And maybe it like ends up in a book, you know. But a meat tenderizer, like that scene could have easily have been a knife or something that we've kind of seen. And we've seen meat tenderizers be used as weapons before, but it's the first like real act of violence in the book. So I knew that it needed to be kind of like, whoa, like it needed to feel a bit more brutal because I think I needed to remind people like there's horror in this horror myth. So,
I'm waiting for the Clay McLeod Chapman garlic press murder. That's going to happen at some point. Um,
oh man.
so we do have a few questions. They are from my sisters,
People
who I
people
did
ask
not know who would
questions?
be here. My
Aw.
sisters are asking questions. Everybody, shout out to Mallory and Megan. I love you both. Thank you for showing out for this. Um, some one of these I don't know. I've never asked you this. I don't know if you have an answer for this. Clay, what is your favorite book you've written?
Aw. Um, You know, I think of it in terms of like kind of utopic experiences, like the writing, the reception, the kind of production of it. Like the book that kind of all across the board, like the utopic kind of experience of it, I feel like that would have to be Ghost Eaters. I enjoyed quote unquote writing it. Uh, everybody was really supportive during the kind of development and like creation of it, production of it at the publisher. The reception was very warm, the warmest reception for any book I've ever written. So I think like all in all, the package deal of it, I would say Ghost Eaters. And a maybe a close second would be this novella that I wrote called Kill Your Darling, which was from Bad
Ooh.
Hand Books.
Yes, Bad Hymn Books, Kill Your Darling. It's a great novella. Um, I think my favorite of your books is also Ghost Eaters.
Hmm.
It's a premise that I immediately was into. You draw on, and it opens with some discussions of like real life ghost legends of Richmond, which I'm always into. The ending knocked me on my ass. And it was also like it was the beginning of like our friendship. I didn't know it at the time. At the time, I was just like, I'm reviewing this. I'm writing about this book that this guy wrote, and I read it, and then I said something online, and
Yeah.
you sent a message saying thank you, and then we were just we knew each other a little bit. Um, so I do
Yeah,
like I have
I
kind
don't know
of
if
a
I'm ever gonna top it.
um. Well, I was about to say like Ghost Eaters is my favorite. I think that your craft keeps getting better. Um, I think that What Kind of Mother is an incredible novel. I think that is some of your best stuff. I don't know that I'll ever be able to read it again because it has to do with parenting and the horrors of parenting and the things that we as parents don't dare think about. It is a challenging read on an emotional level, but I think it's a beautifully written book. And I think Devil Inside is
Oh.
fantastic. So, um, from there, another question. Uh, this is sort of two questions in the same category, so we'll just try to tackle them both. One is what are each of your favorite horror movies of all time? Mine is John Carpenter's Halloween. I have Laurie Strode right here on my wall. I have Michael Myers up there. I have a signed John Carpenter poster right up here next to me. I've written literally a book length series of essays about it. I don't think anybody who listens to the podcast regularly is in the dark about that one. John Carpenter's Halloween, my favorite horror movie of all time. Clay, what about you?
Wow. Um, I had two answers bubble up into my head at the same time, and one is Evil Dead 2 by Sam Raimi,
Hell
and the
yeah.
other is uh, Dead Ringers by David Cronenberg.
Dead Ringers is brilliant. Dead Ringers is my favorite Cronenberg. Or at least I think it's his best made.
Yeah,
I might like Crash and Videodrome a little better,
yeah.
but Dead Ringers is gorgeous and operatic, and Jeremy Irons just kicks ass in that movie. Yeah, those are both amazing
It's
choices.
beautiful. It's a beautiful movie.
But the sub question there was this is a little trickier, and I have to think about this a little. Favorite horror book to film adaptation? I've got two in my head
Um,
that I'm like
I
weighing.
mean, would Exorcist 3 be one of them?
Oh yeah, it absolutely is because Legion came out before Exorcist 3, and it's weird because it was screenplay to book to screenplay, but yeah, I think it counts. Exorcist 3.
Um, if Paul Tremblay was here, can we say Cabin at the End of the World? He would hate that. Paul Tremblay would be so mad.
God. Yeah, yeah. I think Cabin at the End of the World is a fine movie. I think oh no, sorry. Knock at the Cabin is a fine movie. Cabin at the End of the World is a the book is better, trust me. Which speaking of which, I'm very excited about the Head Full of
The
Ghosts
book
movie.
is better.
I hope they nail that. But Head Full of Ghosts is such a brilliant book. I really am nervous and excited about that. I go back and forth on this question between
With Fiona Dourif.
with Fiona Durham. I go back and forth on this question between The Shining and The Exorcist. Um, and I think just by virtue of the fact that Stephen King has been so vocally uh critical of Stanley Kubrick's The Shining, which is a film I love, I'm gonna go with The Exorcist. And someone actually asked this on um Blue Sky like a few weeks ago. Someone was saying like, what is an example of we always talk about how the book is better, but what's an example of a movie that transcends its source material? And The Exorcist is that. The Exorcist the novel is a very well
Jaws.
written. Oh, Jaws too. Jaws is a great, but like Blatty is a very good prose writer. He's a solid prose writer. I read The Exorcist the novel in one sitting one night for the first time. I think it's a very good book. I think that William Friedkin's The Exorcist is. I don't think Masterpiece covers it. I think that movie is so special and so effective, and I do not want to hear any The Shining is there, The Exorcist is underrated, The Exorcist is not scary. Bullshit. It is brilliant. It is still terrifying. I love it so very much. So yeah, my answer is The Exorcist. But Jaws is an amazing answer.
Yeah. Speaking of The Shining, did you hear about that? The Jamie Flanagan edited anthology that's coming out,
Yes, I
inspired
did.
by The Shining, the
Yeah.
novel The Shining.
Yes.
It's gonna be
Are
really
you in
good.
that?
It's gonna be really good.
Are you in it?
Yeah. Yes, I am.
Yeah.
Yes, I am.
Yeah.
Yep, 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 yep.
All right. Well, this is the part of the now that you brought that up, this is the part of the show where we're going to ask you. I know you have another book. Devil Inside, everybody, is out August 11th. That is Tuesday. Make plans to get a copy. It's a lot of fun. It's a really good book. You have another book coming out early next year called Mr. Lonely Hearts. If you would like to plug for everybody out there what Mr. Lonely Hearts is.
Mr. Lonely Hearts is what happens when loneliness becomes real. Like, imagine a lonely Freddy Krueger kind of like taking over your life. Um, I just got obsessed with this idea. Like when the former oh my God, why am I blanking? The Surgeon General said loneliness. There, like America is facing this loneliness epidemic. I was just blown away by that, and I was like, oh my God, like this is wild. Um, and I wanted to create an entity that feeds off of your loneliness. And his name is Mr. Lonely Hearts, and he's really spooky.
And when is it out? It's spring of 27, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
March 23rd, 2027.
All right, everybody, get ready for Mr. Lonely Hearts Pick Up Devil Inside. Clay, where can the people find you on the internet?
Right
Did we
here. I'm
lose?
not leaving
Right
this
here.
YouTube live. You're gonna have to boot me off.
I think your video froze, so I couldn't quite tell what you were about to say. But
Oh
yeah,
no.
everybody,
I'm still here if you can hear me.
you're at Clay McLeod pretty much on all of the sites at this point, right?
Yes, yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
All right. Everybody go follow Clay online. You can also follow us. We have a Blue Sky account. We're at scareshapedus.bsky.social. We are also the Scares That Shaped Us on Facebook. And of course, we have this YouTube channel where we drop every episode of the show. You can subscribe and you'll get all of that. If you like what we're doing here, let people know about it. This video will stay up. You can watch the live stream. We'll also put it on the audio feed next week. Um, what else? We do new episodes of the Scares That Shaped Us every Wednesday at noon Central. We have some cool guests coming up. I know that Cynthia Pelayo is about to do the show again. We just did this cool thing with Clay. Paul Tremblay was our guest this week. Speaking of Paul, so you can go listen to that on the podcast feed right now. If you like the show, tell your friends. thank you all so much for coming out and being a part of our first ever live stream. Hopefully, we will get to do more of these. And most importantly, thank you, Clay McLeod Chapman, for being on the show. It's always great to talk to you. And thank you for indulging in this weird internet experiment with me tonight.
Thank you. Love you. Happy birthday.
Thank
Bye.
you. Thank you. Love you, buddy. Until next time, everybody, take care of yourselves, take care of each other. I'm Matthew Jackson, and this is The Scares That Shaped Us. Eyeball.
Did my internet said it was getting weak and wonky. Did I lose you?
No, you never did lose me. We're off stream now, so we can just let me stop